Test, 1, 2, 3. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Adam Schellenbarger. You may know me from the meetings, but I'm also the preacher here. Over COVID, we had a big change in what we do. Live streaming is now what we do every week in addition to in-person services. So we decided we wanted to try to bring this here. Just so you know, these mics sometimes are live, so be polite. This one over here, if you would like to step up here, we have a microphone that's up here. You can come up here and talk. I'll also be running around with this one. And then the microphone's up there. We're going to keep muted most of the time, but when you start talking, give us a couple seconds to unmute you just so everybody can hear. The reason for us wanting to use these microphones is because we're live streaming the meetings. So if you're not on a microphone, you're not going to be heard, and it's going to be confusing. So please try to be mindful of that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ron, who's on the phone. Oh. On the link? I'll call her. Okay.
Can you all hear me now? Is that loud enough in the microphone? Good. Okay. We're going to call meeting number 62, Joppatowne Community Advisory Board to order at this time. This time we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, remove your hats, gentlemen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I'll give you our heartfelt welcome for those that brave that come out. Last month, of course, the weather took its toll with us, so hopefully this will be able to continue on from here on out. This is something new we're going to try here. We're actually trying to live stream it while we're going on here, so hopefully Adam has everything controlled back there. We can't approve the minutes since we don't have a quorum here for the board, so we'll have to approve our last minutes from hopefully next month. Paula Mullis, who is the normal chair of this group, has had some surgical issues, and she's going to try to Adam could try to get her signed in so she can come in virtually and be at the meeting. She still can't travel yet. Hopefully she'll be back next month so I can go back to my regular seat on the side. Throw a pager off here. And no council members here. However, we do have, I know Samantha Harris is trying to be getting in virtually, who represents Pat Vincenti, who's the council president. Right, recommending Andre Johnson. I just talked to you about it, who's missing it. I know we have Lieutenant Brooks in the back there representing the sheriff's office for Captain Walter. Any other special guests that I don't see? Anybody else? Anybody a first timer? I think I saw one first timer back there. Yep, got one first. Welcome. Hopefully you'll get some information out of this. And I can tell you this is very abnormal for a turnout. Normally we have 20, 30 people at each meeting, so given the time and everything that's going on, I'm glad you're here. Lieutenant Brooks, you're up, sir. There's a microphone on the stand if you like it. Yes, sir.
You might have to turn that on.
Yeah. It just flip the switch up. Yep.
You got it now.
Here one.
Good evening. So I'm standing in for Captain Walter tonight, and Lieutenant Brooks. I am the Ship 3 of Wood Road Watchman Manager for the Southern Precinct. So we'll go over calls for service. We're going to compare last year to this year. So check on subject calls in 2021 for the time frame of approximately January 1 to February 1. This is January 6th to February 6th. Check on subjects. We had 29 last year. This year we had 31, so that's up a little bit. Suspicious incidents. Last year we had 27. This year, suspicious. I'm sorry. I need to back up.
Holding the mic. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. If you can just hold it close to your. Yeah.
Is that better? I hope so, we'll see. All right. I guess it's for the people online. All right, so we'll start over. So top 3 last year were check on subject, suspicious incident, and alarm calls. Top 3 this year were suspicious incidents, alarm calls, and check on subjects, in that order, if that makes sense. So check on subjects last year we had 29, this year we had 19. Suspicious incidents last year we had 27, this year is 31. And alarm calls last year for that time frame we had 16, and this year we had 30. Total calls for service for this time frame last year, we had 1,179 calls for service. So far this year in that time frame, we've only had 676 calls for service, so that's a drop in 42% on calls for service. Total crashes last year for this time frame, there were 3. This year there was 2, so there's a drop there, 33% in crashes. And then we look at the Part 1 crimes. So these first 3 that I'm going to mention, there were 0 last year and 0 this year for this time frame. Those are homicides, rapes, and robberies. In 2021, for this time frame, we had 1 assault. This year, at this time frame, there's 0, so that's a 100% decrease. You got to take baby steps, right? Burglaries went the other way. This time frame last year for burglaries, there was 0. This year, there was 1. Theft reports, last year there were 8. This year there was 5. 37% decrease. Auto thefts went unchanged. 1 for this time frame last year and 1 for this time frame for this year. And those are the major numbers that we have. Anybody have any questions?
No, I'll take that paper when you're done.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions before I start that?
Any questions for Lieutenant Brooks?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, the woman that was missing, reported missing Saturday, I understand they found, where was she found at?
At this point, I don't know if I can disclose that. I believe our CID is still looking into some things. But you can certainly reach out to CID or the PIO to see if they're ready to release that information, the exact location. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Brooks. One thing I did forget, our council members here, to my left, your right, is Jim Lyons, the third.
Hi, Jim Lyons, past chief of Joppa Magnolia, and I represent the Glory Moon section of Harford County.
She has her own section.
Good. You want me to go on with this, or?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
I'm Ron Solid. I'm with Harford County Fire Prevention for the county. Been doing it a little over 20-some years, I guess. I'm a life member of Joppa and a member of Bel Air Fire Department also. I do fire prevention for the county, and I'll have my report later on.
Marianne Forgan. I am a resident of Joppatowne for 50 years and member of Friends of Harford. I'm a member of the Joppa Development Heritage Corporation.
And like I said, I'm just filling in for Paula Mullis. I think she's online listening now. We're going to pray she gets back here next month. She's hoping to get back next month. She's had some issues, but we'll get back here soon, Paula.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we have Lieutenant Brooks. School updates. Is there anybody with any school updates? Adam, do you have anything? 'Cause I think there's a school board meeting tonight. That's why Jansen's not here.
Other than I've been in substituting, and I'm going to be in on Thursday substituting, but Marianne would know more about what's going on right now than me. The PTA just had something for the teachers who moved into some more of their classrooms at the high school, and everybody's just holding on, trying to figure out how to get through COVID.
Okay, I do have one thing that was forwarded to me from Shirley Conley. She wrote a letter to the school board and was answered by Cornell Brown, who is the assistant superintendent for operations. And she was talking about the lead in the water in the schools. I'll read what it says. Your inquiry was forwarded to my attention. It is noted that lead and water testing remediation in HCPS school facilities was completed in compliance with the Maryland Department of Environment regulation for testing lead in the drinking water, public and non-public schools. The following summary is forwarded for your information. If you are open to have a conversation on this matter, Please forward a few dates and time, good contact number. I'm more than happy to give you a call, answer any questions. Now, just so you know, this was dated 5/24/2021. Over a year ago. And here's what the response was. As required by MDE, initial testing has been performed on all sinks, drinking fountains, and other drinking water outlets such as ice machines at the schools on public water. All water outlets were tested according to MDE protocol. Drinking fountains with elevated lead levels were replaced or taken out of service. If it was determined the fountain was not needed, or taken out of service, the sinks were not needed. Sinks with elevated lead levels were kept in service, but were labeled with signs that indicate hand washing only. This method of labeling is approved by MDE. The next round of testing was scheduled to begin September 2020, but was canceled by MDE due to low school occupancy caused by the pandemic. I got a comment, I'll comment on that in a minute. Per the requirements of MDE lead and school water regulation, testing cannot be performed when schools are not operating at normal occupancy levels. Testing is now scheduled to begin in September of 2021. This year's legislative session passed a new lead in school water regulation, which lowers the limits for the next round of testing. As the result, lead level water testing will be completed in compliance with the new standards. And there's a link for this. I got a couple comments on this. I read this and I keep reading it over and over again thinking I missed something. And Ms. Conley, who was supposed to be here tonight, probably didn't find it, but hopefully she's online maybe. There's lead in just about all the schools' water, including Edgewood High School, the brand new high school that's just been built. Why they're letting this go to September of 2020, there's the kids have been out 2 years now, no testing. And I know in some of the elementary schools, the sinks are sealed off so the kids don't drink out of them. Personally, I have a problem with it. Again, it's my personal opinion, not on the council. And it says water levels were tested. However, there's still, all the sinks in these schools are still out of service. So to me, I think we're getting lip service. I'm very sorry to hear this. And I guess it's going to be followed up. And I know Sylvia, where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. I know Sylvia got the letter also, and I think she's going to follow up on this, and as well as Andre is going to follow up on this, because it affects all of the students in all the schools. It's not just Edgewood, Joppatowne. I substitute at Ring Factory, and I can tell you for now that the water at Ring Factory doesn't taste any better. I have sampled the water myself, even with the closed-off sinks, and I don't know why they're doing this. That's just my opinion on this. Are there any comments from anyone sitting down? Yes, sir. Is the microphone?
Hello there. If you read the reports, the earlier reports, it's not all the fountains in all the schools. So it's not the problem in the water. The problem is somebody installed bad fixtures in some of the schools, and this is a plumbing problem that can be fixed, but they won't do it. It won't even be that expensive, I wouldn't think, because you can trace the water back to where it's led this way, not led this way. They won't do it yet.
Yeah, I think waiting for somebody to get sick, though, is waiting too long. It's like being reactive instead of proactive, that's my opinion. When I talk later about fire prevention, I'll talk more about that, being proactive as opposed to reactive to this. But they're still not letting the kids use the sink. And why they couldn't test the water when the kids aren't there still doesn't make sense to me, because if you test the water still has to run through the same pipes. And there's a history that I've read about, and that they use the same pipes from the old Edgewood High School for the new school. I don't see how, when they moved the whole building back, they would have had to put, had to put in all new pipes. I don't think they can reuse the pipes when they tore the school down. That's my opinion. We have to check on that. Any other comments on the lead in the water? Again, we'll keep that on the agenda. We're going to start looking at it, hopefully when Jansen.
Just for education, I know that you can't test water when it's not running on a consistent basis. So.
Okay.
That's okay.
So I know that you can't test the water when it's not running on a consistent basis, it's not being used on a consistent basis, because then you're going to get accumulation that's not normally going to be there. So I'm sure that's why MDE was saying we can't test it if no one's using it, because now it's sitting in the pipes for an extended period of time, and we're going to get, I won't call it bad results, we're going to get results that are skewed and not actual everyday usage results. But
Well, even if you had
I
some
understand.
students in the school, you had some water running through it. I mean,
also
the water's
on
not just sitting.
lead poisoning, I don't think people typically get sick. It's a long-term issue that affects
Okay.
your cognitive development. So it doesn't show up like as an illness. It shows up, you know, over a long period of time and later in life in a lot of cases.
Okay.
So
I was just saying, 'cause they're sitting
It's
stagnant
sad.
now, so you're gonna have the same problem in September.
It's
Because
sad.
school will be out, and then, you know, it'll be the same thing, my opinion. Any other comments? Thank you for your comment, though. I appreciate it. Any other comments? Okay, nothing to highway update. Waiting, the gentleman from Highways didn't come in. Month before, in December, we had a gentleman here with I-95, and he talked about what's happening. As you can see, it's starting to happen now. Be careful on 152, there's gonna be some pattern changes because of the tearing down the old bridge and doing the new construction and everything else, so just be cautious in the area of 152, I think probably all the way up to Singer, basically, because at some point they're gonna be moving trucks, tractors, everything else through that area. It's gonna be interesting to see how this turns out, to say the least. Any questions or anybody want any comments about the highway? Nothing to be said. All right, Sylvia, we're up to you. County updates. No running in the halls. Turn it back on. Push the button up.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
Tap it. There it is.
I think I'm good.
Now you're on.
Well, let's just try that again. I'm Sylvia Bryant. I'm the liaison for the County Executive's Office, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here this evening to share with you some of the things that are happening here in our county. I do try to take your comments back to our county executive and to his team to make sure that your questions and concerns are answered as well as we can do that, so just so that you're aware. A couple of good tidbits that I wanted to bring to your attention. The senior tax credit that's designed for seniors who have lived in their homes for, I think it's 40 years continuously, and veterans. I have a little, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to meet me in person, I usually bring gifts. I brought some gifts tonight. So I have
Ooh.
this palm card. Talks about the tax credit for qualifying seniors and veterans. It tells you what the criteria are. You must be 65 years or older. You must own your home. The home's assessed value must be $400,000 or less, and you must have lived in the home for 40 years or more. Or you're retired from the United States Uniformed Services, or the surviving spouse of a retiree. So this information is in the back on the pew when you go out the door, so you can grab it up and take it with you. Also quickly, the Otter Point Creek boat launch has been complete. I'm sorry?
if you can repeat my question for me so I don't have to grab the microphone.
No, wait.
Has the county run any data to vet the number of households that would actually qualify for those criteria?
I do not know that answer to that question.
Okay.
I can check with our Treasury Department to find out. That's usually where those questions go specifically, but I'll write that down.
Okay, thanks.
The Otter Point Creek boat launch, that's what I was talking about, has been completed, so that is all set up. I had the opportunity to see some photos of it's a boat launch and a kayak launch from that point. So if you go to the county's website, you can find that information and actually see some photos. It may be easier to find it on Facebook, just for your information. Also, the town hall, we had a virtual town hall meeting on January the 27th to talk about the budget, where citizens were invited to offer their suggestions about things that needed to be done with our budget. The town hall has been completed, but if you still have comments or suggestions, you can email the county, and that information will be shared with those folks who are taking care of that piece of information, okay? If you want, you can email it directly to me, and I'm more than happy to pass it off. My email address, S as in Sam, W as in White, Bryant, BRYANT, at HartfordCountyMD.gov. Hartford County, all of that is spelled out, okay? All right. Also, on March the 26th, we are sponsoring, in conjunction with Hartford Community College, an agricultural symposium. That information is on a flyer that is where? On the pew. Very good. So that will be there. You'll find that information. And let's see. You guys laughing at me?
No, not at all.
Just checking my notes here to make sure I give you everything that we wanted to share with you. All right. I trust that everybody is getting the Hartford County newsletter that comes out monthly. Yes? You can sign up for it on the county's website, and it gives you lots of information about things that are happening in the county. There's a note there that talks about our AAA rating that the county has received yet again. This, I believe, is the 8th year that we have followed into that path. Also, there is a diaper drive throughout the month of February. We're collecting diapers, and we haven't done any collections in a while, but we're collecting diapers and wipes to be able to share with our less fortunate neighbors. So if you're interested in providing some diapers or some wipes, you can drop those gifts off at any public library, any of the county administration buildings, any of the senior centers, and we'll be taking those things, putting them together, and making sure that those citizens who need them receive them. All right? And lastly, there is a progress report, also on the pew in the back, that talks about the status of Hartford County at this point. Talks about economic development, workforce development, all of those kinds of things. So these are copies that are available to you at your leisure. Any questions? Yes, Ms. Moon?
Yeah, I think I had asked you about.
Oh, you did.
I asked you about the homeless. Yeah, is this on?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
And I actually inquired about that. I tried to have a representative from Hartford County's Community Action Agency, which is the entry agency or entry point for people who are homeless to get into our system so that they can be assessed and connected to the resources that are intended and designed for them. I brought with me a memo from Howard Magnus, who helps to oversee the emergency rotating shelter that was in place a couple of years ago that we've had to sort of relinquish.
Yeah,
in
they
light
were
of COVID.
here, yeah.
So there is a memo on the pew that talks about that homeless situation. I also have an email with some points, some touch points from the Community Action Agency that I failed to bring with me tonight. But I will email it to Mary Ann, and then she can share that with the rest of you.
I did just want to say that the rotating homeless shelter is not rotating, but they do still, the emergency winter shelter from the Hartford County Hope for the Homeless Alliance is still happening in Hartford County. They're using mostly motel rooms, and they are at capacity at the moment. I don't know what your question was, but.
That's correct.
I just hadn't heard, what was going on with them. It's like they dropped off the face of the earth 2 years ago.
There was funding that came.
Yeah.
There was funding that came in during the pandemic because it would not be prudent to rotate around. That funding was used to go towards hotel rooms, and the team. It was COVID money. I don't know if it's COVID money this year. It was COVID money last year.
Yeah.
So.
And I believe it is COVID money this year
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
So I did find out the answer.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
2 questions. First of all, the tax deduction for this, for the seniors in the military. Now, it says it's only good for 5 years, and I got a letter, no, I'm in my 5th year. Can we reapply for it again? Or is it that we're done after the 5 years?
That's a treasury question. Sorry, I'm not gonna even try to stab at it, because I
Okay.
don't know the answer.
Just curious.
Total,
Once you start,
and then you don't,
unless you change it.
and then you don't have the opportunity to
I'm in my
reapply?
3rd year,
Call treasury. The number's on the back of this brochure.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Second one.
Going once?
Anybody else have any questions for Sylvia, for the county executive? What? Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Watch your opportunity.
Next up is our county council updates. We'll start with Andre Johnson's aide. Oh, I was going to say, no, you're not the secretary. Aide.
Yeah, I turned it back off.
Turn on.
Hello? Is it
There you go.
working? All right, howdy everyone. I'm Ryan Cook, I'm Councilman Johnson's legislative aide. I have a few updates tonight regarding the Hickman property, which everyone's always very interested in. Councilman Johnson spoke to Reverend Hickman this morning. The pool is going to be demolished over the next 30 to 60 days. They've been having some vandalism issues with it, the Reverend said. So you should see that being demolished here soon. And right now, the Reverend wants to move forward with focusing on the community center at this point. And the housing portion is on the back burner for right now. So that's the update for that. We've also had a few people contact us. Ron, you contacted us this morning about the Wawa location. While the pad has been cleared, we have no update on that. I know some people, there were some rumors about them pulling out. We've heard nothing about that. Councilman Johnson's going to follow up on that, though. And then, no update on the Amish market. And Councilman Johnson wanted to thank Gloria Moon for her work as citizen budget rep in the past. She's not available this year, though, so we do need a citizen budget rep to help us with that. If you're interested, please reach out to either me after the meeting, or you can call or email us, and we can provide details of what you would do. And I believe that is it. Any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, sir.
First I heard Wawa, I'm just, where are they, I guess they're proposing to put a Wawa someplace
Yeah, so the,
nearby?
what's the exact?
It's Edgewood Road
Field
and
Burger King.
755, right across from McDonald's. The empty lot that's there right
where the
now.
Burger King was. So yeah. If it was a Sheetz, I'd be chasing them out of town, but we'll get that Wawa here.
Bill?
First, I want to thank the councilman because of the Foster Run vote at the city council. That surprisingly went 7-0, which never happens with a Joppa delegate, councilman suggesting it. And second, do you know what's going on with the sewage line extension through Copenhaver Park?
I do not. Councilman Johnson might know about that. He had brought it up to me, but I'll check in with him and get an answer. What exactly is the question regarding?
Well, I got pictures from one of our members today, so I'm not, but basically they just dug up a whole strip. It's just bare dirt. They have some runoff fencing, but I haven't seen how well extensive that is. And it looks like it goes probably from the new developments that once were Rogers Ford, I'm not sure what they're all called now. And looks like it goes to the pumping station on Trimble.
Okay. Well, I will bring that to councilman and get an answer for y'all.
You mentioned there's no update on the Amish. What's the old news on the Amish? I'm not familiar with that.
So from what we've heard, there is going to be off the top of my head, there's gonna be another shop moving in there supposedly. The Amish market would have to be moved. Ron? Huh?
Moved to Edgewood, right?
Yes, I believe it's a Home Goods.
Oh, it's a home.
Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby's going in Abingdon.
Sorry, my bad.
Gabriel Brothers?
Yeah, yes. So yeah, supposedly there's supposed to be Gabriel Brothers moving in there. The Amish market would have to move locations. But so far, there's been no move by Gabriel Brothers, as we know. So as of right now, the Amish markets stay where it is.
Gabriel Brothers is closed. They're completely out of that building.
Correct.
They did it real quick.
Yeah.
But there's been no movement on the move there.
I had a question. So you said for the Hickman property that we're gonna start to build the community center?
Yes, he's planning on moving forward with the community center.
Is that a separate building from the plans that they showed us before?
So there's plans for a community center, and then there's also plans for a housing portion of it. And he's putting the housing portion on the back burner right now. I believe.
I don't think we ever saw the plans for a community center.
The plans are online. It's
Are
the
they?
Synergy Center. It doesn't say what he's going to do with the community center. It does say there's enough room for his church to meet there. So I think that's maybe like it's going to be the church building, and he might make something available to the community. But as far as we know, and Pastor Hickman is more than, I would be glad for him to return my calls or emails, and I would be glad for him to come to these meetings. But if he doesn't want to, that's his right. It's fine. But as far as I can tell, he did not guarantee that the community could use the community center, just that he's calling it a community center. And then there's supposed to be a 4-story, I think, housing center that's going to go across the street from the marina. That's going to be, so if you're looking at Riviera at the marina, it's going to be 4 stories of housing there. And then there's going to be a community center in the front, which is going to be a church building. And then he's going to have a pickleball court outside that I don't think that the community is going to be able to use. Again, this may be wrong, I'm not sure, but these are what's on the plans, and this is the information that he's passed on to us through various meetings and through Andre. So Andre may have better idea for that too, I'm not sure.
That's what he said
Gloria.
at the DAC. I asked him specifically at the DAC meeting about the community. And I asked him specifically at the DAC whether the community would be allowed to use it, and he said no. It's what he meant by community, the community of the aged is what he meant, the community that he's building.
Yeah, correct, from my understanding, yes.
Any other questions for the Councilman's aide?
Just one more thing. Boy, you're looking good, aren't you?
Just give her a little bell,
Just
So,
say that
all
into the
this-
microphone. Get it on record.
Yeah, Foster Run, it's not dead yet. You have until February 18th for them to appeal it to the circuit court. They wouldn't win, but they have every right to appeal it if they want.
Foster Run.
Yeah,
It's
Trimble.
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 Trimble, I believe.
He wants to upzone. He's got R1 now with 300 and some housing units. He in testimony, he said, Mr. Salvo said that he wanted R3 because he needed more density. He needed around 900 houses to make it profitable for him.
That one's Oak Grove. Oak.
I'm a broken neighbor, Trimble, and I know I was at a meeting, the last meeting I was at before COVID, it was brought up, because a lot of Pine Avenue residents were there, because I think the main entrance would be off Pine Avenue.
Yeah. So for online people, now that we're talking about Pine Road, and we had a meeting about that. There are 3, Gloria, correct me if I'm wrong, there are 3 different housing developments that we're talking about. There's Rogers Ford, which is done. Then there's Stancil's, which is Oak Grove, right? Or Oak, something like that. That's off of 152. That's like right behind what is now Walden. It used to be the Super 8. It's back behind there. That's where they would like to build that. And then, and that's approved. And then,
I'll see you all in the spring when the water starts coming to our house again.
right, and then the one that Gloria is talking about is, it would be back behind Copenhagen Park, and he owns the property that you mentioned that's connecting to Pine Road, and at that meeting, he was talking about connecting that, but he has not been approved for upzoning. Now, Gloria, I have a question for you. Is that something that...
He has a possible contract. During the hearing, he still hasn't bought the property.
Okay. And then, is that something that you think that they might go to for comprehensive rezoning?
Oh, they will, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
2025?
And you don't have to prove that you need it, you just say, I want it. And that's up to the council at that point.
Okay. We are going to get another one of these microphones for next month. So.
I was just going to say, yeah, as far as that, the 2025, the comprehensive rezoning, with the appeal that just went to the county council is the appellate level. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they would have had to give reasons as to why they were going to make that exception. When it comes to comprehensive rezoning, that's only 3 years away. No reason has to be given. It can be very easily. I think, not that I don't distrust politicians, but I think, you're going to have to watch the campaign contributions for where they're coming from and all that, and really stay on top of it for 2025, because no reason has to be given. That could be just go from R1 to R3 like that. So.
Are there any other questions?
All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Can any of the people online speak?
They can type, and we're monitoring back there whether or not there are questions. So far, no. Also, I got an email from Sam Harris, who represents Patrick Vincenti, the county council president, and he said, or she said that that she wasn't aware that we wouldn't have people up on the screen. So sorry, Sam, in particular, and sorry anybody else who thought that's what this was. But the goal is to try to put these meetings online, and so you can review them later or chat in. But I don't know, it would be pretty difficult to get videos up on the screen. So hopefully everybody is able to review this. She said if there are any questions for the county council president or for her, she'd be happy to take them, and we can email her at her email, which I know, but I'm pretty sure, I just want to make sure I get it right, is sharris, Harris, at harfordcountycouncil.com. So if anybody wants to email Sam and get to Patrick Vincenti, you're welcome to do that there.
Yeah, thank you. She emailed me the report, and I sent it to Sylvia. Sylvia will send it out, the county council's report, when she sends out the newsletter and everything, sends everything out that Samantha had. I don't think there was anything that was urgent in there at this point, but it will be sent out to everybody, so you will get a copy of it. Anybody else have a question? You going to talk about the grinder?
Well, we can do, yeah, well, all right.
Jim was going to talk about the issue with the grinder, and I think
I've been delegated to at least start this and bring it up, and I got to thank Gloria Moon particularly, and a couple others, and John Tripp and Mrs. Tripp for this. But the mining operation up on Old Mountain Road Central, which right now there's then some pictures of what they've got to live with, and you heard discussions at the December council meeting of a couple people who live along there as well. But here's some pictures you're certainly welcome to look at. I don't know if we can get a good shot of it or not, but Mr. and Mrs. Tripp are here, Gloria Moon's here, and I willingly I'm leaving you out. Sorry about that.
I'll put it up online.
All right. So how about one of you,
John, you have anything you want to add to it?
Mr.
Devin?
I know Gloria wants to hop in on it.
Just give her a mic.
Just give her a mic.
Just hang out
that'll
with you
work.
more often.
Yeah, you should.
By the way, there's a
If you wanna
sign-in
do
sheet
this
going
job,
around.
it's
Please
great
sign in
exercise. It's-
and give us your email if you.
All right, in 2017, Alan Myers Mining Company, based on Bel Air Road in Falston, decided to take the old Jenkins pit and grind not just cement, but asphalt. They have 2 large mountains there, and they have a 300-ton crusher. And on the right picture, of course, you have heavy dump trucks on this little tiny road. It's not mining in my book. I mean, crushing of cement and crushing of asphalt is not mining. And they've had violations, they've had water violations, they've had air violations. MDE came to Alan Myers put in a request for a larger crusher. They want to go from 300 tons to 450. MDE said, yeah, that's fine. Harford County said, yeah, it's fine with us, but they had to hold a public hearing. And just like the hearing in 2017 when so many people came and so many people were upset, they went ahead and did it anyway. This time around, though, there's a slight difference. The senators for Harford County, Gallion, Casserly, and Jennings, all 3 of them wrote a joint letter to Mr. Grumbles, who's in charge of MDE altogether, and said, this is not a good idea. We don't like this idea here. So there's a chance they might not actually get to do this again. And I was doing some background on Myers. They have an asphalt plant in Cecil County in Oakton. So, I mean, they have a place to do this. I guess they lease this from T.C. Simon's company. I think they are T.C. Simon's company. It used to be Jenkins. So since if the mining stops altogether, if the use stops, regulations say that they've got to grade everything and put it back in grass to natural. Now, if you yes, you didn't know that, did you? If you can keep the operation of some sort going, and there's obviously they can't mine anymore for whatever reason. So anyway, we have flyers, we have this, and we're asking you to write MDE. Her name is Shannon Heafey, Heafey, and write her or call and say, you know, this is not a good idea. I support our senators, our state senators, and I agree with them. We don't think this is people live here. It's not just out in the boonies somewhere. It's not in commercial, industrial area. This is ag land, and we have people who actually live next to this. And I don't think it's right to do it. We have 3 of the neighbors right here, and they got the health department, Dr. Bashai, to come out and give them monitors. Say yes. Yes. Yes.
Purple monitors.
So, I mean, they've been active. They've really been, it's hard on them living next door. So we just ask you, write or call MDE, and if you want the address, it's up there.
Yeah,
Because of,
to further on that, MD had a meeting at Joppatowne Library about a month ago now, right?
It was, yeah.
And Alan Myers, Senate Representative, sat there through all of it till it was officially over, then had something to say. And basically, all off the record, but basically we had much to do about nothing as far as he was concerned, and quit picking on him. That basically was his attitude, because I was sitting next to him and didn't know who he was, just somebody else. But there was a number of folks there that were opposed to it that lived in that Osborne Road Old Mountain Road Central area and told the stories about the trucks. I'll speak for Mr. and Mrs. Tripp, because I know John through the fire company for too many years to count. But I know they had to spend another $3,000 on their well a couple of years ago and drop it down so they could get water, because they literally went out of water. And a couple other neighbors had that same situation. Did you have it as well?
Yes, I had to replace my pump. I have 850 foot well, and I had to replace the pump within 2 years twice at over $4,500 a pop. And my pump guy, he said it's from that, because the stones and everything is running off into our stream and blocking it. And I said, are you going to replace my 850 foot deep well? No. We got children on this street. We had those trucks going all day. I did have recordings of them coming by after 2 o'clock in the morning, but the recordings delete after 24 hours on my current system. But I have a huge backyard with a built-in pool, and I've given pictures of the residue that is dropping on top of my pool.
Couple things to add. Joppa anyway, the area is in non-compliance with the federal standards for air quality. So DEQ, Department of Environment, didn't take that into consideration at all. The Bush River and Winter's Run are also not in compliance, and we're pretty sure the water runs off the plant into the Bush River. And it definitely goes into Winter's Run, which means it gets to the Bush River as long as water keeps running downhill. So we got some environmental problems that DEQ just keeps saying they aren't going to look at. Gloria pointed this out, and I think this thing's a zoning violation, and that's a whole other fight. I'd like to stop it here, because the air's bad, the water's bad, and they want to make it worse. I mean, they're willing to make it worse. I don't think their goal is to make it worse, but they want the money.
I agree.
You talked about air quality, and that was one of the things the Maryland representatives brought out, that MDE, they're using the air quality of the state of Maryland and the national government. Where do you think the air quality standards for this area is? Laurel, Maryland.
Laurel?
Yep.
From Laurel.
Remember that? Yep.
That's a few miles away.
Yeah, that was the closest air quality standard that they were using to talk about air quality in this area, out of Laurel, Maryland.
While rejecting the purple air qualities from up the street.
Yeah.
Could the board take a motion to write a letter for the JAC against this?
Say it again.
A motion to oppose this permit?
To write a letter.
Write a letter to MDE in your
Can the
name.
board write a letter to the MDE?
Okay, since we don't have a quorum tonight, we can't really go that far. I mean, it's a good idea, but I'd wait till we have a quorum of the board so that everybody can vote. I mean, I agree with it, and I'm sure people
Well, we
do,
got
but we don't have
three,
enough here for a quorum to make it
Who are you missing?
a legal vote.
Anybody else online that of our membership?
Because the deadline,
They're about 45 seconds delayed.
Are they? Okay.
We can wait and sign.
Yeah.
Everybody online is about 45 seconds delayed, so, if
All right.
Paula wants to do something, I don't know the legality of that, but,
Yeah, we're doing online, we can do it.
okay.
I
If you
would
want to
say-
send an email out to the board or something.
Contact the Sharon Heffy at sharon.heffy@maryland.gov and voice our opinions. I mean, as a group, as a Joppatowne group.
I can send you the letter that the senators sent.
Yep. I'm sure our senators would agree.
All this online on the Joppa Community Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
send it to me too, and I can put it.
Well, they already have the 3 state senator letters already.
Yeah.
seen them. He said it's straight upstairs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other comments on this particular issue?
Anybody else online know that came back?
I'm not seeing anything right now. There are 10
Okay.
people watching, which is fun, but
How many?
10.
Good.
What about Paula? Is Paula online or not?
Can't see that.
I think the biggest thing we feel is the Department of the Environment. I live on Hanson Road Extended, and we had the big water runoff from the Stansel's development right there, but we stopped them, but it didn't last long. Right now, we saw them knocking down trees right around Christmas, and they just get away with what they want to do.
Any other comments?
Department of Environment, just keep calling them. Get somebody out there, maybe get some of the senators and
What's
The
that?
phone number is
bigwigs
410
involved.
537 4433. And that's Shannon Heffey. Heafey, Heafey. And Adam did put it online, so for those
Yeah,
of you that
he put
want
it
to,
online, so everybody's online's got it.
make contact. Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay. We're now part of our issues from our board here first, and then we'll open it up to the community. Jim, you want to start?
You know, Mary Ann thankfully sent information over her about our Harford County Volunteer Fire Association cadet program that we, training program we run in conjunction with the Harford County School Board. It's been going on for, I guess, 10 years plus now. But I put the application out to it, and Mary Ann was kind enough to follow up, and then got Rhonda, who's the secretary, sent it over to her in seconds after we were trying to get it all to print out. And there's also a Harford Volunteer.com with a little bit of history and why it's supported. But this is an application that any junior in high school with their parents can sign on to, and if they do it, it's within the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute. They have to belong to one of the volunteer fire companies, and the main reason that is insurance, because then that covers them. But then that takes them through the senior year of school, that they get involved with the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute training that takes them through EMT, Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, and a hazmat course. So they come out as a senior graduating with that as well, which put them in good stead if they want to go on and apply when they're 18 or 19 to a career service. They're going to be up on training. They have to retake some of that in career departments, but they're going to be up on their compatriots to start with. So, but that's available, and there's a 3-page application form. I've got a copy here, and there's copies in the back. Anybody like to take it, pass it on to any of your high schoolers in junior year right now. But it's every year, junior year, they can put this in, and right now we've got 7 that are up through EMT, and now are in the process of February taking Firefighter 1 and then Firefighter 2. That's one thing. EMS in the hospitals, just for everybody's information, the wait times at the hospitals, it's getting a little, I guess I'm gonna use the word, it's getting a little better, but it's still long, because if you back up and they don't have beds, you're sitting there with an ambulance crew tied up with a patient still in the ambulance. As a consequence, through the area here, besides Joppa, you're gonna see Abingdon, Kingsville, Belair, Falston. You don't know who you're gonna get based on what's available. The other thing that the association did is they worked it out with Upper Chesapeake and also Harford Memorial. So if they take you, and let's say you got a scrape or even a broken finger or something minor, that you could go to an ER and set instead of taking you in right in the ER, because they don't have beds for you to start with, they call ahead and say, here's the information we've got, and they get permission to take you on the ambulance stretcher right to the emergency room entrance. And you get to sit in the chair there for whatever time they're gonna bring you back and take a look at you. So it doesn't get you right into the ER like in the past. That would get you past all that. So they've done that to try to alleviate the backup of patients in the hospital. But that means you could, some people sit there for 12 hours waiting to be waited on. It all depends on the severity of the patient. And if you're ready to be called in and we bring an automobile accident in or a cardiac arrest in, you're backed up again. So that's what we've done to try to alleviate some of the waiting period at the hospitals. And the county has got 3 ambulances running now under the county government, and they're about ready to go into the Blair station down on 24, their Blair's House 3, and put a full-time Harford County paid crew in there, and then Blair's gonna put most of their emphasis on their main station. So they're trying to come up with a way to handle the urgency and the volume of calls that they're receiving through 911. So that's just a quick update. So just to call 911 and figure I'm gonna beat everybody and get in the ER ain't gonna happen. All depends how sick you are or how severe you are. So and we've got the protocol set up. It's signed off by MIMS and the doctors. So just like our training and the protocols we do as far as patient treatment, that's all been through that process. That pretty well covers it, I think.
Yep. Just to piggyback on what Jim says, we have the app in our phones. We got it right now. University of Maryland, Upper Chesapeake. You got about an 11-minute wait, but there's 3 units waiting to unload patients right now. They've been on red alert since 03:45 this morning. Okay, and that hasn't changed at all. The other one that was interesting was downtown at Johns Hopkins Adult Center. They've been on red alert since about 7, almost 8 o'clock, right, just a little while ago, as a matter of fact, tonight. Johns Hopkins Bayview, you got a 37-minute wait just to get unloaded. And there was one other one that was interesting, Harvard Memorial, we know about that. GBMC, you've got a 20-minute wait just to get unloaded out of the ambulance. And Franklin Square, our other closest hospital, you got a 32-minute wait. So, the hospitals have been very busy. They're backed up, and it's not good. And unfortunately, it's not the volunteers that's having the problem. It's because there's too many people, and people are calling. We need to educate people on the use of 911. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like the best thing we can do as a community is get vaccinated and wear a mask, because this is obviously connected to what's going on in the larger world. That's the only action I can think of that we can take as citizens to reduce the flow of people requiring ambulances. Take care of ourselves, be safe, and follow the right protocols that have been out there for all of us for the last 2 years. We just got to reduce the number of people going in.
Well, I'd like to agree with you about the vaccinated, but unfortunately, if you follow what's going on, the vaccinated people are getting just as sick with a second COVID attack as some of the unvaccinated. So, it is. Listen to the information.
I have listened to the information.
All right. Well,
They're saying 99% of the people that are very sick have not been vaccinated. This is coming through our medical director for us.
99% unvaccinated.
That's correct.
End up in an emergency room. Not that they don't get sick and stay at home.
Right.
I agree with you there, Jim.
yeah, right. Well,
But
that's what.
calling the ambulance and creating the backup where people have heart attacks and can't get waited on is the majority is unvaccinated folks.
Well, that's also where the second COVID sickness is coming in, or initial whatever, but because it's building up, and it's also building up on the people with heart conditions and cancer conditions and diabetic, So it's building up people that aren't getting treated or putting it off because they don't want to go to the hospital and get exposed to somebody that may have the COVID, so.
Yes, sir.
If we needed an ambulance to come here tonight, where would the ambulance come from? And if that wasn't available, where would the second one come from?
Right now, I'll give you three choices right now, figuring if they're available. Joppa, Kingsville, Abingdon. All right? And if they're tied up and busy, Falston or Belair, but I'd say then Falston. That would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, and or Joppatowne, White Marsh. But unfortunately with Baltimore County, they've been so busy that a couple of times here in the last month, they've had no ambulances available in the whole county. They've all been out doing stuff. But yeah, right now, if we call an ambulance right now, it could be Joppa Magnolia, second would be Kingsville, and third would be Abingdon.
And I can tell you on Saturday, because I was on duty Saturday, that we had to call Darlington to handle a call on Trimble Road. That's how backed up it was. There was no ambulances between here and there, so they had to go to the next due, which was Darlington, had to come down to Joppatowne to handle a call. I think we've got people that are there, I mean, but it's just not getting any better, unfortunately. It's a shame. Any other questions or on that issue? Basically, what I want to talk about tonight, a couple things. I did have some, I did bring a few flyers tonight in person. These are also come out. I also sent them to Sheila on learning the sounds of fire safety. And everybody, you know, I speak to the choir here, but you got to be careful. Know the difference between when your smoke alarm's going off, when it's given a faulty signal, or when the battery's just low. I would say a third of the calls we get on smoke alarm calls in the residences because the battery's low. I was at a house this past weekend replacing alarms. She couldn't understand why her alarm was going off. She had 6 alarms, but all the batteries were low. She didn't realize because they were hardwired, they still have a backup battery. You got to change that battery. You know, when changing your clocks, change the battery. Personally, you can change it once a year. I think you're okay. But it's still a lot of money. Plus, put these 10-year battery operated ones in your home that we give out for free. Washington, we install for free throughout the county, which is a backup to your hardwired. If your hardwired goes out and that battery goes dead, at least this one will still work. The other thing is we've had a couple fires recently with electrical portable space heaters. The biggest one was not in this area, but it was in Pennsylvania, up in Philadelphia. If you all, a couple weeks ago, they had that apartment fire there. Close to 24 people were died between that one and the one in New York. The one in Philadelphia was mainly caused, according to the fire marshal up there, space heaters being used incorrectly, like using extension cords with a space heater or plugging more than one space heater into the same outlet. The power in your house cannot take that kind of wattage, okay, which in most of these, I would say, are about 1,500 watts or more. You put that much wattage, you're going to have a fire. The other problem, I want to talk about the one in Philadelphia, was people being educated as to what to do, and they had things that were too close to the space heaters. Fire marshal found clothing, towels. People had towels hanging over, I guess, to dry them out because there was no heat in this building. The other problem was the fire doors in these buildings were tampered with. They were blocked open. They're very similar to the ones in the school that the schools have. When the alarm goes off, these doors close and lock so you don't go through it. It presents a fire barrier. The doors were tampered with, so the fire just spread through the building. The one in New York, as we know, if you haven't heard, was caused by a child playing with a lighter under his bed, set his bed on fire. Okay, I think there was like 7 people in that fire, in that building. Again, no escape plan. Everybody says, it's not gonna happen to me. It's not gonna happen to me. But when it does happen, do you have a plan to actually get out? The other flyer I put back there, and again, it'll be online, is fire prevention all year long. Different months, different things to look out for. I mean, as the seasons change, you've got different things that you do. With outdoor lighting, with your fire pits, your grills. You know, this talks about a few different things And of course, Fire Prevention Week is in October, and most of your fire companies are gonna have a fire prevention visit to the half firehouse, and where you can come out and visit the firehouse, watch some of the things they do, to look at their training. And briefly, I just want to talk about the 3 firefighters in Baltimore City. 2 of them were volunteers right here in Harford County. One of them I knew personally, Paul Buttram, who was lieutenant in Baltimore City. I can remember when he came out of high school, and John probably could too, when he joined Joppa. He was a very good guy. He was very active. He wanted to do more, always wanted to do more. And when he got accepted to Baltimore City, I mean, his face was just lit up. I mean, he was just so happy that he was able to do this for 16 years. A good guy, you know, and like all other young ones, and John can attest because John was chief back in at that time. You know, their kids, when they come through, yeah, they get in a little bit of trouble, but they're having fun. They get in trouble, but look what they go up. It was funny, and Jim was saying the same thing. At the funerals for these 3 firefighters, and Kelsey, by the way, was a member up in Falston, as well as volunteered in the medic around here. The number of people from Joppa Magnolia that are now battalion chiefs, I think there's 2 of them. There's another one, or 3 of them. Another one's a captain. 2 more are lieutenants in Baltimore City. They started right here in Joppatowne as kids, and they moved up. So with the cadet program, like Jim was saying, to piggyback off of that, when these people get trained, you're nationally certified. So if you know any young children, 11th grade going into 12th grade, that might want to do this, you can get hired on in a lot of different companies throughout the country, much less here in Baltimore. And of course, Baltimore City and Baltimore County are hiring. Montgomery County is hiring. You're already trained. We get the same training through Maryland Fire and Rescue that those paid firefighters get. It's the same instructors. So just because we're volunteers, I mean, there are some people out there that don't even know we're all volunteers. But by the same time, they can say we're not trained as well. In order to get on that apparatus, you have to have certain training. To be a chief, you have to have certain training. You've got to keep up on the training. Again, John, and of course, Jim was the past chief of Joppa for many, many years and filled a lot of positions. You know, we have to be trained to do. We're not just, it's not just, okay, I want to make you a chief. You know, we'll give you a white hat and a white coat and you'll be a chief. No, you've got to have the training. You've got to have the knowledge to know what to do when things happen. And we want to pass the knowledge on to you to make sure you know. Again, we'll go back to the fire prevention tips. Know 2 ways out of your house. Know what to do in case you can't get out. With that being said,
I'll add one
yeah.
thing there, that the national certification Ron talked about, there isn't one of them, well, particularly the ones that get the EMT and paramedic, but once you get to national certification of firefighter 1 and 2, and they get letters from around the United States offering them jobs. So it all depends what ladies and men want to do. There's a good number of ladies in it doing it today.
a question over here.
Yeah. A, that's great. And B, is any of that stuff about the 3 battalion chiefs on the flyer? Or is there a little video that we could show to the schools from the guys who got trained here?
That shows them coming from Joppa?
Yeah.
No, it's like the guy's battalion chief that lives in Joppatowne right now, and pointed out that on the eulogy for Paul, that don't usually say that because they're all Union, but we came from Joppa Magnolia, and as volunteers, all right, and you don't get a Union person to acknowledge that very often. And this battalion chief has to be the Union, I think,
President.
either president or vice president. I think
President.
now, and he lives in Joppatowne. So no, they don't brag about their volunteer time under the Union banner, if it happens in a Union situation like Baltimore City's death did.
And like he was saying, that Josh Fannin, who was the battalion chief, who was also the president of IAFF for Baltimore, did mention that Lieutenant Paul Buttram started out as a member of Joppa. You know, when Josh was there, when they were all coming up together, they were good friends. It's good. I know there's other ones out there too from other companies, but these we recognize, unfortunately, these funerals, all these people, and it was hard to believe, count 2 out of these people that have made battalion chiefs in Baltimore and being officers, which shows you the training here was good enough to get them started. And as they got into the city and got into their job, they got more training and got qualified to do the job they do. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't hesitate to have any one of them want to back up on me on a line or even on a medic call. Now, when they were kids, maybe different, I said, but now, I mean, these guys have grown up, they become men, they've done a lot of training, and, you know, I've got to give them a pat on the back. I mean, I would never have thought in a million years that a couple of these would ever have grown up to be professional firefighters, but here they are, battalion chiefs. Now, which is a pretty high rank, it takes a lot to get up there in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and things like that. So, again, they got their start right here. This program is very good as far as that goes. The other thing, again, just be safe out there. Winter's not over yet, as much as we want it to be. Probably still have some nasty weather coming in, sneaking in here and there, but it's up and down temperatures. Just be very careful out there. If you know anybody needs smoke alarm, there is no reason for anybody in this county not to have working smoke alarms. I was at a house on Sunday in Joppatowne. Lady wanted me to replace some smoke alarms. Well, I go into the house down there in Joppatowne, and it was on Breakwater Court, and I happen to know the house because my first boss, way back in 1960, bought down there. The person who sold that to this lady this summer had taken down the hardwired smoke alarms that were expired and covered them up with a metal plate. And I happened to notice it, and I just happened to look. So maybe what I do, it's obviously above my pay grade. I go to the fire marshal and let them know that things like this are happening. When we go in, if we see something, I got to report it. Another house, you know, went in there, it's the same problem. People are taking down these hardwired alarms because they're expired and don't want to replace them. They're very easy to replace. They're there for a reason. Remember, your hardwired ones communicate with each other. So if the one goes off in the basement, the one on the second, third floor are going to go off also, so that all of them go off. So beware of that, and please, 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 if you know anybody, let us know. You get them in touch with me. Just call any of the firehouses. They all have my email and my phone number. Get them in touch with me so things can be done. There's no reason not to be safe. I mean, we've been very fortunate. We haven't had any fire deaths in the past 2 years, and we want to keep it that way. Okay, and Mary Ann, sorry to take up some time.
Oh, that's okay, that's okay. I would just say that Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation had a sign placed in Joppatowne, and we had our little ribbon cutting grand opening. Andre Johnson and Senator Casserly and Councilman Schroeds were there. It was very nice. We got a proclamation from the county. We applied for a COVID grant, a federal COVID grant from Harford County, and we got a $7,000 grant. So there are ways of getting money from the county. We just have to work at getting it.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to turn it over to the committee. Oh, Adam, you want to start?
I'll do the thing up here like everybody else has to.
Okay. And thank you for hosting this, Adam. We appreciate it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize how hard that was to, okay, my bad. I'll work on that for next month. And you're welcome. On behalf of the church, we're glad that you're here, and if there's anything that we can do to help the community ever, we want to do it. But other meetings like this, happy to do that too if there's something that we can do to help Joppatowne. Speaking of helping Joppatowne, one of the things that we're working with the Joppa Development Heritage Corporation is coming up in May, so I'm just kind of getting it out there now. Details are still solidifying, but we're going to host an event on May 21st in the afternoon called Local Learn Expo. This is our Local Learn logo, and Local Learn is the idea, the intention was something that the church was kind of thinking of ways that we can help people during COVID, and we kind of came up with this thing, which is, you know, it's not an original idea, but neighbors helping neighbors. And so the Local Learn Expo, what that's going to be is we're going to try to have 5 or 6 different skills to learn during an afternoon. You don't have to do all of them, but the idea is that 5 or 6 teachers are going to be repeatedly teaching those things throughout the afternoon, maybe 5 or 6 times. And right now, I think changing a car tire for people who don't know how to do that, basic bike maintenance, those 2 are very popular requests. We also had a big request for scrapbooking. I think Gloria might be doing canning. I don't know if she'll do it on the expo, but she said she'd be happy to teach that. If anybody has any ideas for things that you would like to learn or things that you would like to learn, get in contact with me. But also on that day, we're going to have a couple of different tables downstairs too. I think the library might come and talk about some of the things that they're doing. The church is probably going to have a table. Trinity Lutheran, which is over on 7, they give out food in our parking lot monthly, just food giveaway, like food pantry stuff. So they're going to be here giving out food that afternoon. We have the community garden, Joppatowne Grow Community Garden right up the hill. They're going to be here that afternoon telling people about the community garden. We also, right outside this door on the right, is a 24/7 food pantry for anybody who needs it. The Joppa Development and Heritage Corporation runs that. A Girl Scout built it. Wonderful community thing. And the idea is just to highlight good things in the community. So if you have something that's good in the community, you're welcome. It's not going to be an idea, like we're not going to be selling stuff and we're not going to have people who are selling stuff, but if you are useful to the community and you also happen to have a business, it's going to be okay to talk about it, but we're going to be doing, it's a community day. So just keep that in mind. May 21st is the day that we're shooting for. We might have a rain date, but all of those details will get worked out. So that's my view.
That's it? Anything else? Thank you.
I don't think I have.
Anything else from the community members? Yes.
Hang on a second, Charlotte.
So of course I lost my link that I was going to say. I'm not affiliated with this in any way, but the Joppatowne High School Drama Club is raising funds by selling face masks. I'm wearing one. It's like purple with the black J, but they also have different colors of the J. They have variations on the Maryland flag, and then they have just other regular patterns. $7 a piece, and I think, we should maybe support the kids.
Thank you. Anyone else? Adam?
I did think of one other thing. I'm sorry. So we are very happy that everybody's here, and first of all, thank you to those of you who are helping out. Angie just ran downstairs to make copies of those flyers. Jesse helped me set stuff up. Mike's here always. Esteban and Rachel are running stuff in the back, so thank you to you guys. But that being said, we could probably use some people from the community who want to learn some of that, talk about a local learn thing. So if you want to learn stuff or want to help us do this, because right now I'm having a hard time imagining this happening and live stream happening if I'm not in town or something happens, and that can happen from time to time. So if you would like to keep this online, if you're watching online and think to yourself, oh, I want to learn how to do that, come on down. I would love to teach you so we have a few more hands on deck that if somebody has to go out, we can still have this go on monthly, every month, as long as it works out for you guys. We'll see, if maybe the board doesn't like this being on microphones and on video thing, but we'll see.
I'd like to have our whole board here so we have a quorum, so it'd be nice. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions? I would say we did pretty good. We had 70 people here, and you said 10 online?
There were 10 watching at one point.
So that's about 27 people, which is about what we average up at these meetings. When we get more in person, hopefully more people will come down here and enjoy the beautiful church. And it's a little more comfortable than the precinct. Lieutenant left, but yeah. Any other questions? Anybody have any issues they would like to discuss? Anybody?
Thank Marianne, that sign's good and she keeps changing the letters.
Speak up louder.
I want to thank Marianne, the sign is nice and she keeps changing the letters for new events.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, for those of you that didn't know, we today, northern end of the county, and very unusual, they very rarely get any fires. However, 3 fires, 3 at one time. They had a dwelling fire, first engine in, it was fully involved, it's smoke coming out the second, or fire coming out, 2 different sides, alpha and delta side of the house. That house collapsed while they were there fighting the fire. At the same time they're fighting that fire up there up in Darlington, another fire came out at a truck, a tractor trailer had its tires or something was burning. And not a few minutes after that, and I mean, this is in a short time frame, we had a working chimney fire. Somebody had chimney in the same area. It was all covered by volunteers from Harford County and York County. I will tell you that right now. So, you know, it's unusual to get that much going at one time. It's bad enough to have a fire. Thank God. As far as we know, nobody was hurt. I just got the report, so I haven't read it yet from the fire marshal. But, you know, be careful. Watch what you're plugging into your outlets. Watch your spacer. That includes not just spacer, but irons. Anything that draws a lot of electricity. Your crock pot. What's that?
Toasters, hair dryers.
Toasters.
Curling irons.
Your toasters, your microwaves, blenders. You don't realize it, but they draw a lot more wattage than machines. So make sure you're not plugging too much in there. I don't want to have to come up there and we have to tear your house apart because your house is on fire or have it collapse on us. So please, please, please be careful out there. Our next meeting is scheduled, and I say scheduled because March can be a tricky month as far as weather goes. It's Monday, March 7th. Adam, I don't know if we're going to have it here or back at the precinct.
Why not have it here? Just say we're gonna have it here.
What's that?
Why not just say we're gonna have
Have
it
it
here?
here.
It's up to you. Yeah, we're ready to have it
Back
if you want to have it
We
here.
got a lot more, we got parking. But it'll be sent out, Sheila, we'll send it out. We'll send it out on the Joppatowne Facebook page, and if you're friends with any of us on Facebook, you will see it on there. One last time, any other? Gloria?
If you have any, like, announcements, the monthly meeting announcement that's sent out is usually, the monthly meeting
You have to
announcement
repeat it,
that's
Gloria.
sent out is usually mine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be just a monthly meeting notice announcement. So if you have something that the board agrees that can be sent out, like this mining
Yeah.
flyer, we can do that with your permission.
Gloria is our communicator, and she does a very good job of it. But yeah, thank you. If you have anything, get email to Gloria.
And for what it's worth, if there's anybody who has something that you want to talk about at a meeting and you want it shown up there,
Yeah.
my email is adam@joppatowne.church, and if you get it to me in advance, that's a lot easier. And if you don't get it to me in advance, I can still go take a picture of Jim's hand and have it broadcast to the entire community.
Now, if you have a subject or topic, or you want a guest, please let us know. We're not immune to that. We want to do what you want to do. We want to work together as a community to do what needs to be done. And the one thing is the milling, which they're
Mining
calling
grinding operation.
grinding,
Grinding
yeah,
operation.
which they're calling mining, which is not mining.
Grinding.
Now, this is what we need to get together. And we've stopped. Joppatowne has come together and stopped a few things. So we can do it, and there's strength in numbers like anything else. So, any other question with that? No questions? Once, twice, 3 times. 8:22. We stand adjourned till next month. Thank you, everybody, and please be